Once you've been able to do all of the exercises on that Pen Tool 1 page, go ahead and open up Pen Tool 2. Now this is much simpler, just one artboard. And all I'm asking for here is I want you guys to try to cover these shapes by tracing them out exactly, but not giving you any numbers or any dots to go ahead and use. All right, so this is just to get used to some repetition, some basic, simple things, some tool tips up here for the shift key and option key. But I want you guys to take a look at this. Go ahead, give this a shot, see how well you can do with it, and then come back here and take a look if you're not sure and you want the solutions. But I'd like you to give it a try first without watching this video. So go ahead and pause this, and then I'll give you the answers. All right, so hopefully you guys did well with that. We're going to set myself up kind of the same way I did before. I'm going to go with magenta again as my, no fill color. Magenta is my stroke color. And I'll do, again, a size 2 or 3 point stroke. And just to go through some of these, a really nice way to make sure that I have this all lined up would be to use guides. So I'm going to pull up my ruler, drop one guide right at the top of these lines, and I can zoom in a little. One guide at the bottom, because there's going to be times that you need to be pretty precise. And now from there, with my pen tool, I'm going to click once. I'm going to hold shift and see, and yep, it does work. So it's really hard to see that color in there, and I just realized that my colors got reset. That would be why. Hit the letter P, reset. So let me just change this back to, and that was because I used the guides. Even that, though, a little hard to see. Let's go with a different color. Let's go with bright green. All right. Then I click here. I'm going to hold shift. There. Letter P. Click here. Hold shift. There. And again, you could also do escape. Click, shift, there. P. Click, shift, there. And it's just, again, to get you used to switching tools, drawing a line, jumping out of it, holding shift, constraining it. So a little repetitive. All right. Next one. Click, hold shift and see. Yep, it is a 45-degree line, it looks like. So these I can hold shift all the way through. So you should have gotten these without a problem. Letter P. All right. Next. The letter P. Shift, whoops. And I was holding control, not shift, because I wasn't looking at my keyboard. All right, so the straight lines should be no issue at all. Okay. Now let's do some curves. Click once. And what I can do actually is I can click and drag up a little bit. Maybe just to there. So you want to do this in as few anchor points as possible. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll end up doing 6, 7, so 9 altogether, 8. And I'm going to click back on this point to go straight up, 9. All right, next one. Click, drag up a little. So I can do this in a few different ways. I can actually pull this handle all the way up to here and then try to get in one arc It's not quite the right angle that I needed. So I'm going to undo, click, drag up to about there, and see if that gets me something a little better. And again, not perfect. So if I go back in, I can kind of start to see what handle needs to be adjusted in what way. And so the best way to do these, because of the size of these arcs, does look to be like that. Whoops. Up to the halfway point, halfway. So doing them as quarter circles instead of half circles. And now click back on it once. All right. So that should be all of those lines. Now, if you've got that done, the next thing I want you to try is these two guys here. And these you could throw a fill in when you're done. So I'm just going to grab on this again. And you'll see it'll use whatever the last color you had selected was. So I just grabbed that line just to make sure that I could kind of still use that same setting. All right. So I'm going to try to get most of this arc done in there. I'm going to pull this a little shy. I went a little further than I needed to probably. And again, they don't have to be right or perfect the first time. So let's come out here. I'm going to look at each of these shapes as sort of a partial arc. So there's that. I'm going to click back on this once. Out to there. Straight to there. Straight to there. I can do this arc pretty easy. Back on that same anchor point. It's not a 45, so I can't hold shift, but this is a straight line, so I can hold shift. All right, and now let's just pull this up because I know I want this to go mostly straight. See if that works. That does. Pull this in. And there you go. Now, I need this piece here. Do my straight side first. It was a little off where I clicked. Let me just click there. Do about halfway through the arc, which is usually a safe spot to do. Hold the handle, pull it in and down a little. All right. And now, lastly, I'm going to say let's take this a little bit further. If I were to make this and this a fill color, well, how do I get that hole cut out? And if you remember the video that we already went over our Pathfinder tools, in our Pathfinders we have a minus front. I drew the bigger shape first. That means the smaller shape is in front. If I click on that, it'll knock out that hole. So that gives me my little ampersand. And lastly, this one, which should be actually a little bit easier than that one. Probably should have stacked these a little different. Straight line, and I just realized I'm working with the inverse of the colors. And I'm just going to pull that a little bit because I made that a little off where I dropped it. And that's the other thing about this is work closely. Some students don't want to be up close to the work. I don't know why. Make it the only thing you can see on screen. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a 45, so you can hold shift for that. And then there you go. That gives you that one, which we can also flip. All right. Once you've gotten those done, you should have a pretty solid handle on these. The last thing I would like you to do is let's go back to that name file where you wrote your name or attempted to write your name in script. And I would like you to try it again underneath the first one. So draw a couple more guidelines and draw your name or try to write your name again now that you have this bit of understanding. If you're still struggling, the best thing you can do, write your name in script the way you normally would, nice and slow though, on a piece of paper. Take a photo of that piece of paper, bring that, or actually you don't even have to look at it. You could just take that piece of paper that you have and just look at what your hand does. I was going to say bring it into the computer. Don't even bother. Don't go that crazy with it. Look at it and just see when did you go up? When did you go down? When did you cross over? When did you go back? And see if you can do that general shape with the pen tool. If you can do pen tool exercise 1, this exercise number 2, and you can write your name with the pen tool, you should have no problem moving forward to what we're going to do next. So once you've gotten those and you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can jump into the next video, which is going to be actually putting this all together and starting to make something with the pen tool.